invite David Joko Okupe to come up here and please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Representatives of the Minister of Information, representative of the DG, National Orientation Agency, and representative of the DG, Voice of Nigeria. All other protocols observed. Once again, I welcome everybody to this public presentation of Mindshift Advocacy for Development Initiative, which is a non-governmental and non-partisan, non-profit organization that was incorporated in 2016 with the main aim of redirecting citizens' minds from negative mindsets to positive ones in such a way that we foster what I call meaningful, holistic, personal, social, and national development. Now take note of the personal, social, and national, because it all starts with an individual. The crisis that we have of the mindset that we're talking about starts with individuals in multiplicity of places. As the saying goes, if the skies are going to fall, it's not just one man's concern. When we talk governance now, we're not only talking private or public sector, because really and truly, whether you accept it or not, there's governance everywhere. That's why in the private sector you have corporate governance adherence to rules and regulations, purposeful leadership, erosion and loss of good old value systems. For those of us in our generation and generations above, there were things that would never be heard of when we were growing up that happened, that have become the norm of the day now. High level of unemployment, corruption, poor understanding of global issues and how they affect our lives, poor standard of living. As a consequence, there are politically sponsored conflicts resulting in the excessive exploitation of our fault lines. There are three major fault lines in Nigeria: regional, religious, and ethnic fault lines, all of which are mindset issues that need to be dealt with. They are tendered on palatable effect of our inability or willingness to curb this trend and redirect it cannot be overemphasized. We all know where we were and we know where we are now. In spite of efforts that are being made by government, and I keep telling people, government is not total in itself, because ultimately people make up government. So if the government says, oh, we're going this way, and majority of millions of people decide to go this way, even with the application of force, they are not going to kill everybody. So ultimately, we all have responsibility. President Paul Kagame of Rwanda once said that Africa's transformational change will first happen at the level of mindset before it is translated into concrete actions. So whatever it is that we are going to act, first of all has to start in our minds. According to him, Africa's journey of transformation starts with changing how people think. So we need to ask ourselves, how do we really think? As a people, majority of us have negative mindsets, we make bold to say, which includes but not limited to get-rich-quick syndrome, mediocrity, self-aggrandizement, shortcuts, compromise, very unhealthy religious biases, ethnic biases, wastefulness, and the like. The elites in this society form a core of the major problem of this country, because they have no understanding deliberately on the national anthem of this country and the pledge that we have. If we were to imbibe the principles in those things as a starting point and were to live by them, I bet you we will not have majority of the problems that we have today. But many of us sing these things because in our minds the national anthem does not reside. Even people in public service are not being faithful to the country. They are not being loyal to the country. They are not being honest to the country. They are not serving the country with all their strength. And whenever they find a few who do, They not only discourage them, they try to make life miserable for them. We need to change our position and postures in all these things. So if you must have a Nigeria where we all serve with love, with all our strength, with deep faith in our nation, where there is fear and reverence of God, where we do things that foster unity, peace and progress, where there is true freedom and where no man is oppressed, where we all uphold the honor and glory of our fatherland in all that we do, where we aspire and strive to attain great lofty heights in all our endeavors, where we defend our national unity and uphold the honor and glory of our dear country, we need to reflect, rethink, and do different. We all, citizens, political leaders, government functionaries, young and old, school children, lecturers, need to stop being hypocritical about patriotism and nation building. Nation building and patriotism are not things that we say by mouth. They are things that we think and we act. We need to become a nation of conscience and objectivity. It appears sometimes that as a nation we've lost our conscience. We've lost our objectivity. We've become averse to the truth, and we have become so addicted to telling ourselves lies, all of which must need to stop if we are to rethink and if we are to rebuild this nation. We desperately at this period, more than ever before, if we are to allay the present state of hopelessness and avert an impending catastrophe, need to get our citizens to embrace positive mindsets that can elicit positive thought and action for national recovery, growth and progress, as well as development for the good of us all. If you talk to young people in their teens and their early 20s, up to early 30s, there is nothing that gives them hope about this country. You know, they are looking for the next way out to get out of here. And I remember when we were at their age, it wasn't that bad. But sometimes you argue with them, you try to sell the idea that there's still something to look forward to, and by the time they sit you down, you know, and they tell you, it becomes very painful sometimes that some of the issues that they raise, you don't have any answers to give them. You know, we cannot sit down because some of us are asking our parents, how did we get to this point? Now, if we don't do anything now, one day our children will also ask us, how did we get to this point? So it is vital for citizens of all ages and social classes to have the right mindset, because they are the ones who will be actively involved in day-to-day actions that bring about sustainable transformation. Many poor people remain poor in Nigeria because they have a poverty mindset. And whatever effort that is made to get them out of that poverty mindset, they resist with all their strength. Poverty itself is a mindset. And the greatest type of poverty is the poverty of the mind. A popular Chinese proverb says that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time to plant is now. So if you want success and growth in future, the best time to act is now. The number one strategic tool and first critical step we need to take for real and sustainable transformation is to shift our mindsets as a people by renewing our minds and the way that we think. Real transformation can only happen at the level of mindset. So let us reason together. Let us reflect on how we got to where we are. Let us rethink the ways that brought us to this point, and let us do something different now. Now we are here today to share the fundamentals of this Mindset Advocacy Initiative's vision and to solicit your support on the journey, because it concerns all of us. The people that have worked with us together on this project have been of diverse base, because we believe that peace for one is peace for all. A Mindshift is a change of mindset, focus and perception with the extraordinary power to make positive and powerful improvements and bring about sustainable transformation. According to Einstein, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created those problems. The present Nigeria is the Nigeria we all created. I don't care who you are. We have all contributed to this present Nigeria. It's not a finger-pointing game. Because in my part of the country, it is said that if you point one finger of accusation at somebody, the remaining fingers are pointing back at you. If you've ever been at a checkpoint where
you bribe a policeman just to get away, you have contributed to this problem. I ask friends, I said, why is it that when members of your family are appointed into public offices, you begin to celebrate? And they begin to place congratulatory adverts. And they begin to hold parties. The simple story is that they believe that it is their own time to have a share of what is happening. Now, when the reverse is the case, there's anger and there's upset. We are here today to encourage us that one, a mind shift is required. We must change the way that we think. And two, we want to encourage and inspire us that that mind shift is possible. It is possible. People who say, oh, it is not possible, it is a hopeless situation. The real truth is that if you are one of those people that say it is not possible or it is a hopeless situation, it means that even with you in your mind, you are not willing to change the way that you think. That's what it simply means. So we need to say that one, that mind shift is required. Two, it is possible. And we are here to elicit your cooperation in steering the ship of our nation away from the present turbulent zone that it is. Where to a point where the ship can sail smoothly to a desired destination. What is that desired destination? In our vision, we hope for and we envision a first world and prosperous Nigeria that will attract positive attention and totally change the current narrative internally. There are many negative narratives, both internally and externally. There are very few Nigerians that have anything good to say about the country. Even those that are benefiting from the country don't have something good to say about it. We need to change that narrative internally amongst our citizens and with the external world as well. So in conclusion, according to Socrates, he said the secret of change is to focus all our energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. We need to build a new order of thinking. We need to build a new dimension of mindset. We need to build a new perspective of even looking at ourselves. Some Nigerians look at themselves with so much hopelessness. They don't even have faith in themselves. Talk less of having faith in the nation. We know that the task of changing mindsets, attitudes and behaviors is usually a very daunting task. It's easy to move this desk from here to there. And when you come back, if nobody has moved it, you find the desk there. It remains there. The human mind is the most difficult thing to change. Stereotypes. More so for a country that is as diverse as Nigeria, that there is so much mutual suspicion. Everybody suspects the other. But we are not intimidated by the enormity of this task, because we have the conviction that where there is a will, there is a way. We also recognize that tasks of this nature require high levels of collaboration and partnership to be successful, and we shall therefore be reaching out to all persons and organizations who share similar visions and convictions with us. We have taken the first of many steps of sharing this vision with the world, with all of us that are in here, and we enjoy you to partner with us on this noble journey of moving this nation forward against all odds for posterity and for common good. Africa still remains the most blessed and the poorest continent in the world. Wherever you are in your circle of influence, start with yourself. Don't wait for somebody else. Don't wait for somebody else. I thank you all for listening. May the good Lord bless us all. And I pray that the Lord God himself will take charge of the affairs of this country to soothe the pains of those that are legitimately pained and to heal the wounds of those that are legitimately injured. That at the end of the day, we will have the prosperous country that we desire and that we pray for. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
You